Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video, we're going to be min-maxing Ritual so you guys can make the most money possible. So Ritual League, everyone seems to love it. It's nice and simple on its surface, and you can get a ton of rewards just like that. Super duper cool, but there is a ton of depth to this mechanic in taking it to the next level and making sure you get tons of money and exalts per hour from this league mechanic. So on its surface, of course, we have these circles in the map. You're going to get anywhere between 3 to 4. You can check how many you got left using this bottom piece here. So that's it on its basics. You slay some monsters, you activate the rituals, then awesome. And they get more and more juicy as you activate them. And then at the end, you get a shop to choose from, and you can pick whatever item you want. Now, let's start with the picking of the items, because this is where a lot of people go wrong and they don't know what to pick. So, to get an idea of what you should be picking, you should download a price checking macro so that you can actually have a take a look at the values of everything. Now, I like Awakened PoE Trade. This is absolutely safe to use. I use it on stream constantly, and I'd highly recommend it. So you can see that this Metamorph Scarab is worth 3 Chaos. Very, very cool. This is absolutely the most valuable thing in this window currently, and that's going to be really helpful. The other thing you guys are probably going to want to get is a pretty strict loot filter. It doesn't have to be too strict, but it shouldn't be showing stuff like, bad divination cards. And that's going to make your choice easier because you don't have to filter through all of the garbage. Because you can see here, my loot filter is graying a bunch of things out. Very, very cool there. Next up, you're going to need a little bit of game knowledge so that you can actually kind of understand what you're looking at. This is primarily in the case of stuff like synthesis bases. So for example, this is a fractured item. It doesn't look that good. It's not that good. I can tell you that, but a new player may not be able to. So this is where a big amount of money is going to come from. If you get like a random fractured or synthesized base, which is incredibly powerful, you could make a lot of money that way as well. So make sure you pay attention to the synthesized bases, and you can actually check the price of these too by checking the implicit on the synthesized bases using Awakened PoE Trade specifically. You can click on the implicit and boom, there you go, you can check it out. So yeah, that's definitely a few tips there and what you kind of need to progress in Ritual. So that's the shop. Now, you will want to be doing these in red tier maps. Red tier maps give you significantly better rewards, and you can also be using stuff like Scarabs in the end game and Delirium Orbs to get more tribute from your rituals, which is going to give you a ton more juice. Very, very cool. Now, this is absolutely what you should be doing. Go for about T14 plus if you can. Obviously if you're in lower tier maps, you should still do the rituals, and a lot of this still will apply to you, but it's better in high tiers. So very, very cool there. So next up, what do you want to think about? Well, when you're doing the rituals, you generally, as I mentioned, get 3 to 4. And the way that these work, there is a bit of nuance to them. So when you slay monsters in a ritual area, it captures all those monsters in the circle, and it will respawn them the next time you click that ritual. So let's say I killed 20 monsters in this ritual, and then I click the ritual. It'll slowly respawn those monsters as I go, and it'll give me tribute based on those monsters. So if I slayed 20 and then I get 1 tribute, for example, per monster, and I click on a thing, I'd get 20 tribute. Now the important thing to note here is that when I go to my next ritual, I'll get all the monsters from the first ritual, plus all of the monsters from the next ritual, and then let's say I got 10 monsters in the next ritual, and then I'd get 10 plus 20 equals 30, so I'd get 30 tribute in that one. So what you actually need to be thinking about when you're doing these maps is which one was the most juicy at the start. And you want to start with that one so it carries the juice over between the others, and you end up with a lot more rituals tribute to spend in the shop. That's absolutely what you need to be doing, and that's why getting 4 is very powerful. So you need to be doing your map, full clearing them, and kind of remembering, wow man, I had so many mobs in that middle ritual. I'm going to go pop that one first, and then you go do that one, and you get a ton there, and those all get dragged to all the other rituals. So you should start from most juicy to least juicy in terms of the ritual kind of sequence. And that's going to give you a ton more tribute to spend, and it's going to allow you to use advanced strategies that we're going to be getting into now. So in general, how much tribute do you have to spend? So that's going to be the first question you're going to ask. Well, here I have 5,000 tribute. So you kind of have to get comfortable with how much you're willing to earn from your rituals. If you're just trying to make a few chaos and just starting out in the tabula, you might be okay with spending 1,000 tribute per chaos. So picking up this Metamorph Scarab, for example, would be a really good choice for you because it's around 1,000 tribute per chaos. Now, I'm kind of like, 1 chaos isn't too much for me, so I kind of don't go for these more cheap rewards, and I re-roll aggressively for anything that's over 10 chaos. So if you're a higher kind of a wealth player, you probably want to look for about 1,000, just anything worth 10k or so more. You don't want to be buying anything less. You could take some raw chaos, but let's play out this situation here. So I could take the Scarab here. That would be really good, or I could re-roll for some new options. The Scarab is guaranteed. I'm going to make 3C absolutely, but I have a chance at getting absolutely anything in my next window. Even I don't know what's coming up. Now, what I tend to do is always hedge on the side of getting new stuff, because if you get new stuff, you could get stuff like Exalted Orbs, you can get Divination cards, who knows what you could get. I always re-roll every single map. And the reason for that is you essentially double the amount of ritual rewards that you see. You're essentially running 2 rituals versus most people's only 1. The guy who bought the Scarab here only got 1 ritual window. I'm about to get 2. So what did I get here? I got a Jeweler's Touch, and I got some other stuff here. So I didn't actually get that much good juice here, but I did get more money to spend here on this Jeweler's Touch, so I got 5C, and I also got some other things that I can pick up as well. So I always re-roll, and I would advise you to do the same. Re-rolling more, for example, for a player that only re-rolls not at all, will give you twice as many good rewards, like Exalts and all that kind of stuff like that. Now, there is a critical piece of information here. You should never re-roll when you have less than 4,000 tribute, because you're not going to be able to defer anything that comes up on the next window. So when you're really buying stuff, you need to make sure that you min-max the juice sequence on the rituals. You'll have tons of tribute to spend. You might be able to buy 1 or 2 things in the first window. If it's cheap, make sure you pay attention to those prices, because sometimes they put something like a Scouring Orb and it's like 3,000 tribute, and that's a really bad deal. So yeah, make sure you pay attention to those prices. Buy things that are cheap. If you see some golden oils, they're generally like 1,000 tribute. Stuff like Simulacrum Splinters are actually a pretty good deal as well. So this is about 5 chaos almost in Simulacrum Splinters. So that's pretty good. Make sure you min-max that tribute and you can kind of get a lot of juice. So I could have bought that Scarab, but I actually now got 5C worth of Simulacrum Splinters almost, and I deferred a Jeweler's Touch for my next rituals coming up, so I'm going to get more money in the future. So I'm actually making way more money by re-rolling and managing my tribute effectively. So very, very good there. What else do I want to get here? Well, I could get this Poor Joys for 4 chaos as well. So you can see that I'm already making a ton more money just by planning out my ritual windows and re-rolling and making sure I get a lot more options at my disposal. So super duper cool. That's all you really need to know about the ritual window. It's absolutely pretty much mandatory to have a price checking macro for making the most money out of this league. So let's get into the ritual vials, the ritual filled vessels, sorry. So these are a pretty interesting item, and you can actually get a lot of value out of them if you get them for the right price. How much are they right now? They're 4 chaos each. That's definitely a lot more expensive than I'd want to be paying for them, but they can give you quite a lot of advantages. So how's the best way to use ritual vessels? So when you're in the maps, let's think about the sequence of juicing again. What was your most juicy ritual? You need to remember that. So when you're doing that, you go up to your most juicy ritual. Generally, it's going to be in an open area in the middle of your map, and you're going to use the ritual vial on there. Because remember, you can grab all the monsters from them and you can stuff them in the ritual vial. So like if you got 20 mobs, you can put all 20 mobs into the ritual vial, and then when you put that ritual vial into the next map device, all those 20 mobs will spawn with that blood vial, as well as a normal flat multiplier on the spawn rate, the amount of monsters you can have alive at one time, and the favor rewards. But all this really says is 20% increased favor rewards carry 1 ritual worth of monsters over to the next map. That's essentially what these are. The juicier the ritual you capture, the better it's going to be. So if you have like a ton of monsters, like 100 monsters in there, you can absolutely get 400 extra monsters in your next map if you get 4 rituals, which is incredibly powerful, seeing as the rituals do drop a ton of loot. You can see all this loot is from this ritual, and you can get stuff like maps, you can get stuff like currency, you can get basically anything that drops in the map. So if you're juicing up, for example, burial chambers, you can get doctors from this. Very, very powerful indeed. So pretty cool. Now, when should you be using these? So the primary time that you should be using these is in Delirium. Delirium, you get lots more loot per monsters you slay, and this is going to give you a ton more monsters. You can also use these traditionally, just like in normal maps, but I don't think it's that good because all you're doing is getting more favor. You're not actually getting any additional window rewards, so it's essentially giving you more money to spend in the shop. But generally, you can get most of the bang for your buck out of normal rituals just using a reroll and making sure you cherry pick the best reward or defer the best reward. So if you're doing Ritual correctly, you actually don't even need to use these vessels. The primary use for them is actually just to give you more monsters in the map, because you should have enough tribute to spread it between the rewards and make sure you have everything you need. You could consider running one just to get more tribute to kind of like buy all the small currencies and chip currencies, but I think you'd probably be breaking even at that point unless you're actually getting a big value off of the monsters themselves. So that's kind of my take on the Ritual vessels. I don't personally use them very often, but I may look into that when I'm juicing really hard, because it is going to be quite a nice addition of monsters. So it's pretty cool there in my opinion. So that's going to be Ritual, guys. So to sum it up, make sure you're prepared. You need higher tier maps if you can do it. You need a price checking macro, absolutely mandatory. Make sure that you don't buy things which are absolutely not worth the cost. So that Scarab was a bait. And make sure you look at the prices and look at the items very closely, because you can get pretty good deals on stuff like golden oils for a less tribute. When you're doing those maps, make sure you use the biggest circle first with the most juicy mobs in it and go backwards, and that's going to give you the most tribute to spend in that shop. So super duper cool. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and it teaches you a little bit more about Ritual and when to use it and how to use it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.